the market for a small car but don't want something cheap and nasty, you might actually want to give the new MG3 a look. We've got it here in the new Essence top model, which comes with 360-degree camera, a car monitoring app, leather steering wheel and sunroof. So compared with before, it's a much sharper design, especially with the headlights. The MG logo has been moved to the bonnet, and you've got this hexagonal pattern for the main grille there, which incorporates all the sensors for the AEB and other ADAS features that the old MG3 didn't have and was at quite a disadvantage for it. Gone are the Gitty Comfort tyres, which were quite rubbish on the old model, and drum brakes. What you'll find now are Kumo Solus, proper decent tyres and four-wheel disc brakes. Let's have a look inside to see how it's changed compared with the old model. What's immediately apparent is you've got more or less the exact same layout as the MG4 electric car. So this is probably the only petrol small car that gives you the interior of an EV, which is quite a nifty selling point. It's got push button start now, standard across the range, the hexagonal shape of the steering wheel, digital speedometer, and 360-degree camera as well. Another highlight of this Essence model is the ability to connect to MG's iSmart app, which allows you to locate the car, lock and unlock it remotely, and also prime the air conditioning system. Like the MG4, you've got these two rectangle directional pads. So this one controls the adaptive cruise control, and this one controls your audio, or when you press this button here, it will control the information in front of you on this instrument panel. One thing that is quite handy about this is you've got two favorite buttons. For example, this one has been allocated to the HVAC, so now this directional pad controls what's going on this screen here, whereas this left one controls the 360-degree camera, which has come up on the screen just from me pressing that there. A lot of those features you did not get on any model of the old MG3, so it's quite a big leap forward in that area at least. As a nod to the old model, there is a little bit of that tartan pattern, and you have a glove box. There's no side storage here underneath like some cars. What you do get though is this little sliding box which reveals two cup holders and, shock horror, and center armrest. I can already see a major improvement. You've got rear vents, which is still pretty rare for the B segment. You've got a USB-A port there and a shallow port. I don't know what kind of phone would fit in there, maybe a Nokia N95. Some shallow storage bins in the door. Maybe you can put a Mount Franklin in there, but that's probably about it. It's got quite a deep aperture. We'll put up the exact figure in litres on the screen. It's slightly less than before, but still quite handy, and you get a temporary space saver spare tyre there with a toolkit. This car now comes with a 10-year warranty, or 250,000 kilometres, whichever comes first, and that includes roadside assistance as well. So if you get a flat tyre, someone can come out and change that for you anyway. Now, if you've driven the old MG3, my condolences. I'm happy to report this is a vast improvement with wider rear track than front, so it feels a lot more poised and comfortable in its own skin on the road. Even the steering, despite the fact it switched from a hydraulic system to an EPS, has a better feel to it. MG switched to a CVT gearbox for this model, just like with the ZS and the MG5. So they've gotten rid of the old 4-speed, which was quite an awful gearbox and really not suited to such a small engine. So you've got a lot more flexibility and response than you used to have. It's still not going to set the world on fire in terms of performance, unlike the hybrid we drove, where we actually exceeded the time quoted by MG for 0 to 100 kilometres. So the engine isn't the nicest. It's not like the Mazda 2 Sky Active 1.5 litre with direct injection. This is just quite a coarse 1.5 litre, very similar to the motor it had before, but it does seem a bit more hushed at lower revs around the city. So they've done a lot more work in terms of noise cancellation in this car now. Before, it was very crashy ride, very noisy all the time, so it's a vast improvement. Compared with the old MG3, this is a completely different animal. It's a lot more refined, It feels better to drive, it handles better. The interior is much nicer. You wouldn't even know that the two were related, to be honest. It is a bit more expensive than it used to be. It's still quite a cheap car, but it's not trading on price alone anymore like the old model used to be. All right, so let's go do some performance testing.
Sorry about the closeness to the camera to the screen, you just can't move the steering column out. The brakes aren't the best in this for a little hatchback. It should pull up a bit quicker. So watch, I'll absolutely slam the pedal. And it's only just activating the ABS, not even really, it's kind of just stretching the tires a little bit. It should, you know, pretty much lock up the wheels and activate ABS, but it doesn't even get to that point.